Islanders, us, we love this yard sale. And it's nothing to do with the stuff that you can find at the yard sale. It has to do with the stories that are born out of this wonderfully complex yard sale. Because there's so many bizarre tales born out of this yard sale. There's tall tales, short stories, stories as long and confusing as the yard sale itself. Now, there's one person in particular that knows all about that from the 70 Mile yard sale. One young Donald Cook. He's a young fella, but people know him to be a bit of an old soul. Some say he was born older, some say he had to get old quicker. Because when Donald Cook, when he was only 16, his mother Beverly lost a fight with cancer, passed away. That same year, his father, Brian, a mechanic in Kings County, he was deemed unfit to raise a child on his own. So Donald Cook was raised by his grandmother, Grandma Gertie, a sweet old gal of Lorne Valley. She took him in and said, "You can stay with me as long as you want me, son." Now for old Donald, that wasn't nearly only a year. He graduated high school the next year and he up and left. He wanted to leave Prince Edward Island behind because it was filled with memories of hurt and pain and heartache. So he took off from Prince Edward Island to Montreal, where he studied history at Concordia. And he was going to leave the island behind for good, save 1 or 2 trips home out of absolute necessity. But unfortunately, 6 or 7 years later, absolute necessity made a call in the middle of the night, a call that rings through that can only mean one thing. He gets a call from Grandma Gertie's housekeeper. She said, "Well, Grandma Gertie's had a bit of a heart attack." I don't know how one can have a bit of a heart attack, but for Donald, he knew the truth. He knew he had to come home quick. See, Donald, he was the next of kin, the only remaining family, and he had to settle the house. He had to settle all the stuff. And she was a notorious pack rat, so he had to deal with all that himself. He didn't want a lick of it, though. He said, "Sell the house, get rid of the junk. I don't care. I don't want one bit of it. But I do want one thing. A little silver ring." Grandma Gertie, she never wore jewelry, but she had one silver ring. See, her husband, the grandfather in all this, he died before Donald was born. He wasn't a man of means. He wasn't well off. But she had one silver ring. Donald, every time he saw that ring, he knew that that little ring is a symbol of being able to rise above your given circumstances and do something unquestionably good. So if he had to have one thing to keep his family's memory alive, let it be that little ring. He books the next flight and he gets home, waiting for him there in the Charlottetown International Airport. Charlottetown International Airport. Daily flights to Halifax. Waiting for him at the curb that September morn is his best friend from high school, Farley Drexel Gallant. Waiting for him in the truck, he gets out and says, "Oh, Jesus, bud, it's been a minute if it's been a lifetime." Gives him a big bear hug. Donald, not a fan of hugs. He takes one anyway. He's grateful to have the free ride all the way back to that old farmhouse in Lorne Valley. They get in the truck and they drive down Route 3. Now, usually that's about a 40-minute drive, but this day it takes about twice as long because that's the September of the 70 Mile yard sale. Farley, he doesn't mind. He's driving and he's emptying the wastebasket of his mind the whole time. He's telling old Donald all about Rebecca, how they got back together after high school. Then they broke up. Then they got back together. Then they broke up again. Then she said she was pregnant. And then he said, "Well, we better get married." So they got together and had the child and then spent the next 6 or maybe 7 years arguing if Starla is an appropriate name for a child. Donald does not mind, not one bit. He lets him rattle on, and empty the wastebasket of his mind because Donald, all he's doing is imagining where that little ring might be Finally, the boys, they pull up through the farmhouse dirt road, all in Lorne Valley. They spot that farmhouse, and it's about 150 years old, a stately old building, and if left in the hands of a 20-year-old with a cell phone, would soon become an Airbnb. They pull up the driveway, and who's standing in the door, waving him in? But Maria, the housekeeper. She's a lovely lady. She moved in as Grandma Gertie's health started to turn just right around the time when Donald left. She became a friend, a confidant, and looked after her in her final days. Good to see you, boys. Wish it was under better circumstances. Gives them a big hug. Come on in. Sorry about the mess. People have been coming in and out all day collecting their goods. If you see anything you need, by all means, have at her. Donald beelines it upstairs to his grandmother's bedroom. The dresser is there. He knows he just has to open that top drawer, grab the ring, and get out of there as fast as he can. Get out of Dodge. And he opens the top drawer, and staring back at him is absolutely nothing. He pauses, ponders for a moment, and then does the thing all humans do when he finds something isn't where it should be. He closes the drawer, then opens it again, perhaps thinking, I opened it wrong. My eyes are playing tricks on me. And he does this 6 or maybe 7 more times, and he's proving the theory true that if you do the same thing over and over and expect a different result, that is the definition of insanity. The insanity brings him down on his knees. He looks under the dresser. No, not there. He looks under the bed. No, why would it be there? He opens the closet. Nothing but coat hangers. Why would it be there? He calls down to Maria. Maria, have you seen a little silver ring by any chance? What ring? She calls. What ring? She only had one ring, a little silver ring. Have you seen it? Well, dear, if it's not up there, it must have been donated and probably sent off to the 70-mile yard sale. Donald has no memory of his feet touching the stairs as he made his way down to the bottom floor. He flew down. He wanted to get a good look at Maria to see if she's lost her senses. What do you mean you got rid of the ring? What do you mean it's at the 70-mile yard sale? Well, you said get rid of everything, and so the Boys and Girls Club, they got a little booth set up in Montague, and they're raising money for the kids, so they needed some stuff to sell, and I said, come in and have at her, and must have been in one of the boxes then. Well, why'd you get rid of the ring? You shouldn't have gotten rid of that. Well, you said get rid of everything. Well, yeah, everything, but the ring? Well, why not the ring? Well, the ring it's important. Well, how is it any more or less important than the rest of this junk? And she gestures at a canvas painting of 2 dolphins on the beach kissing. Donald doesn't know what to do. He's beside himself, and he begins pacing up and down the living room. He passes Farley, who's got his eyes looking to the floor and saying nothing for the first time in his life. Donald gets to the window, and he's looking out into the horizon. Could this be it? Could that little ring, the one thing he was looking for, could it be gone? Could that family history, that family memorabilia be gone for good? And as his eye line is facing the horizon, the corner of his eye, he spots the 1978 Ford F-250. Hey, Farley, you got enough in the tank there to get us to Montague? Folks, I've been Justin Shaw. You've been fantastic. Don't forget, life is beautiful. Take care now. During childhood, lots of young islanders are chomping at the bit to leave Prince Edward Island. Now you can chalk it up to wanderlust or grass is always greener syndrome, but there's always a time in a young islander's life where they wonder, is life more interesting and is it better away from Prince Edward Island? Now take me for example. I grew up without the internet, we didn't have canned pop, we didn't even have a paved road. So yeah, I did wonder, are things more interesting over there in the mainland? What do they got going on? How am I supposed to grow up and become an astronaut cowboy if I'm living in Cardigan RR6? But it's not until you leave Prince Edward Island that you realize how much wonder and how much bliss is woven into the tapestry of this fair island. Sure, some days I wish some parts of the island had better cell reception. I wish it didn't cost an arm and a leg to cross the bridge. And I wish the lineup at Richard's Seafood wasn't 1.5 miles long. But there's only a few people on planet Earth that can call this little red lump what it truly is. Home.